Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Certainly getting up and having a fantastic start to your day, a great start to your weekend. And I appreciate you folks joining me this morning as we try to figure out what's going to happen weather-wise for today. Never want to leave you guys hanging on the daily forecast. It seems like that is part of our routine here on this channel now. So I know regardless of what's going on out there in the tropics, which the majority of this video is going to be on, a lot of people just have daily activities that they have to take care of in any given day of the week. So I always want to break down the lower 48 first in these morning videos and keep you guys covered. But I'm going to tell you guys right off the dot, not very active in the lower 48 today. This is going to be the first video as of right now, per the information as of right now, that we don't even have a marginal risk for severe weather, which is a level 1 out of 5, just a general risk. But I'm going to tell you it's going to get active, quite active in the Southwestern US with the approaching of Hurricane Hilary, and basically just this enhancement of moisture is going to get funneled into the southwestern portion of the state. We're going to give you detailed information on that, and we're going to give you detailed information on what's going on in the Atlantic too, because there's multiple areas that we need to watch. And of course, we'll give you a detailed update on Hilary and the latest predicted totals as far as rain, winds, things like that from Hilary into Southern California and just the Southwest in general. If you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. You guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put it in the comments below. We have our first soccer game here in about an hour and a half of the fall soccer season. If you're new to the channel, I always talk about my personal life on here, maybe a little bit too much, but that's how we are on this channel. We keep things personal. It's a family type atmosphere here, but to round all that off, definitely asking for prayers, as I'll be I have no assistant coaches this season, so it's going to be all on me just to work with the players, sub them in, sub them out. But we're going to have a lot of fun just asking for a successful game and a even flow to the game today. I appreciate that. So let's get rolling. Let's take a look at the water vapor loop. A little bit different, guys. Typically, we just zone into the lower 48. But we're taking a look at the lower 48, Central America, Mexico, the Caribbean, the Atlantic, the Eastern Pacific. So your eyes immediately probably go to this. This is Hurricane Hilary. Technically, as of right now, still 130 mile per hour hurricane, which is still a major hurricane, still major hurricane status. But chances are, if you're viewing this and it's like the Saturday afternoon, Hilary is probably weakened, probably much lower than this, maybe as much as 15 to 20 miles per hour. But as of now, still 130 mile per hour hurricane. We have this going on. This is going to continue to head northwest and eventually maybe just head due north and affect the Baja Peninsula, Southern California. And then we have this massive ridge. And let's go on and start drawing on this thing. Let's make sure she works. She does. So we have this basically this massive ridge that's it's building and continuing to strengthen over portions of the central U.S. And basically, anybody under this is very hot. It's going to continue to be very hot. It's going to be hot even all the way up into like Minneapolis today, where it'll get into the low to mid 90s. The same time, you have this upper level low. If you kind of look really hard right here, you see this kind of dip right here, and it's kind of spinning like this. So flow around this goes like this. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I spent a lot of time on it last night. And the flow around this high pressure goes like that. Okay, you can actually see, and this is water vapor, it doesn't really indicate clouds. I mean, it can indicate clouds, but just the moisture in the atmosphere, you can actually see all the moisture kind of taking that route, right? And you got a little bit of a system right here that's spinning around into the northeast. So then the flow kind of goes like that. So basically what I'm trying to show you guys, and I'll kind of talk about it again later in the video, is Hilary has found this path. It's already found, it's eyeing it down, and all of her moisture is going to get basically slung into this avenue. This is going to cause a lot of flooding issues for California, and Hilary is basically going to take this path right into here. I know it's a lot of arrows in one spot, but yeah. So we got a tropical wave right here in areas of the Caribbean, the Bahamas region. You can see it. It's not much there, but it's there for sure. This will head into the Florida Straits and eventually get into the Gulf of Mexico. Well, this will try to develop somewhere in here. You got a tropical wave right here, which I believe has been dubbed 90L. And then you got what I think this is 99L right into here. And then you got 90, believe 98L behind it. I might have 99, 98 mixed up. If I do, I do apologize. But either way, none of that really matters. We have another system right here and then another one behind this emerging into this picture right here. So this is what's going on. There's a lot going on, but immediately in the home states, not a lot right now, as of right now. So we'll get this off your screen and then we'll keep this rolling. As far as talking about what's going on weather-wise for today, for the immediate lower 48, we're dealing with some rain showers, some light to moderate rain in the northern portions of New York State, a little cluster of heavy rain here in eastern Maine. We already got a funnel of moisture starting to ride into the southwest. You see this moisture down here in southern Cal and northern sections of the Baja Peninsula, and even some rain that's moved into southwestern portions of Utah. This is going to do nothing but increase throughout the day. Okay. Elsewhere, a little bit of shower activity in southern Wisconsin, but outside of that, there's not a whole lot going on right at this moment. Okay. Storm Prediction Center. I wasn't even going to pull this up, but it feels weird at this point not to pull it up, right? So there is not even a level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather today, but there's going to be a lot of thunderstorm activity potential in Florida and in the southwest, and even all the way up into maybe even like central and southern Montana today. So the light shaded green you see here, that stands for just a general risk of thunderstorms. Now, even on a general risk of thunderstorm day, you can certainly get a strong to severe thunderstorm, but as of now, not expecting any kind of isolated to widespread severe weather for today. So it's nice to come on here and say that for once. It really is. Just to kind of switch topics, to be honest. Excessive rainfall outlook for today over the next 24 hours. So we'll talk about this multiple times over the next 24 to 48 hours, but there's a moderate risk as of right now for today, just the next 24 hours, for excessive rainfall being met. There's a 40% risk of that. That's what that red means. 40% risk of rainfall exceeding flash flood guidance within 25 miles at any given point. Okay, the yellow is a 15% risk of that same criteria. So this is ahead of basically the approaching moisture from Hurricane Hilary. So this is basically day one of things really going downhill. And then it really does later this evening into the overnight hours into tomorrow. So we look at watches and warnings. There's two big storylines, I guess you would say. One is this big heat dome flexing all the way up into the north central US. So everybody in this pink or purple color, whatever you want to call this, excessive heat warnings. Everybody in the orange, heat advisories. And then in this burgundy color, that's excessive heat watches. Maybe that's heat advisory that could get upgraded to excessive heat warnings. If you're in Minneapolis, you got an excessive heat warning today. Temperatures will climb into low mid 90s, maybe the upper 90s. It'll continue to be hot where it's been hot all summer, which is the south central US. But if you notice right here out west where they have counties in Nevada the size of just about states, they have flood watches up for all these areas, extending all the way up into eastern Oregon and southwestern Idaho, and then western areas of Arizona. But you see this right here? That is tropical storm warnings, guys, for LA and San Diego and everybody in between. Unreal, right? This is pretty wild. So it's not just the rain. The rain will be by far the biggest story with this. But depending on who gets lashed with the brunt of Hilary's eastern side, which just happens to be the side that's going to hit most of the land, could definitely get all-out tropical storm force conditions into this region. Hence why you have the tropical storm warnings. So in the red there, that is tropical storm warning. Some of these counties have never had that. I mean, you almost got we got some tropical storm warnings in desert climate regions. So it's pretty wild to see. So we're going to get more detailed on this. Just stick with me. In the later half of the video, we'll have a segment just for Hilary. So if you're watching, you're like Mitch, you have not talked about the tropics yet, I will have timestamps up, I promise you guys. Let's talk about the southeast. We are going to roll through this quick until we get to the southwest because there is nothing really going on. All right, so we'll take it over the next few hours. Just standard thunderstorms in areas of Florida. Basically, if you're from Gainesville Point south, everybody has a chance of some showers and storms. You could get, an isolated downpour or two around the Jacksonville area, North Florida, extreme southeastern coastal regions of Georgia, and even the coastal regions of South Carolina could get a downpour today. Everybody else you see on the map, you don't see nothing, right? That's because nothing's going to happen. You're still being dominated by some dry, stable air, and just not a whole lot's going to happen over the next 24 hours. But you're still going to just get a funnel of moisture, especially South Florida. Remember, that tropical wave is getting a little bit closer to you guys, so you're getting a little bit of a moisture feed from that tropical wave that's beginning to emerge a little bit closer to the Florida Straits over the next 24 hours. Temperatures right now are pleasant, guys. These are temperatures right about right now, or this is probably temperatures about 30 minutes ago. Let's see the latest information. It should come in quickly for us. And here we go. If you're vacationing in the mountains, you're waking up to some nice early fall kind of conditions. It's like in the 50s in Asheville, Gatlinburg, up to Boone and Banner Elk and Blowing Rock region in the low 50s. Somebody might be in the upper 40s. It's nice in central and eastern Kentucky, 50s, West Virginia. I think there's a place called Cannon Valley in West Virginia, which is a notorious cold spot for the central and southern Appalachian Mountains. I think it's gotten down all the way to the low 30s, so pretty wild. I mean, even in my neck of the woods in the Midlands of South Carolina, which is where I live, by the way, if you don't know, I mean, it's gotten down to about 66 degrees, which is nice for this time of the year. I'll take it all day long. But it's nice into Virginia. I mean, even northern sections of North Carolina, low 60s, upper 50s. It's really nice if you can sneak into the upper 50s this time of the year this far south. The Northeast, not a whole lot today, but it could get a little showery today with still that cyclone low pressure up there in Canada. Could swing down at the base of this, some downpours, and pretty much anybody in Maine today could get it this afternoon. I would definitely favor probably more so central to eastern Maine. Certainly Caribou could get some showers and downpour action. Some showers could drift or redevelop in kind of extreme northern sections of New York State, Vermont, and New Hampshire. And then we get into overnight tonight. Maybe more a consolidated area of rain drifts into areas of Maine, western Maine, and central Maine. We could wake up to just some damp conditions up here in Maine tomorrow morning. One thing about the Northeast, guys, is you guys are escaping the big time heat this summer. You guys really are, and I see nothing but consistent cold fronts in your future. So I don't see any big time heat for you guys anytime soon, to be honest. But this is temperatures right now like Ohio, southern Michigan, areas of Indiana. I mean, there's a little nip in the air when you're waking up this morning. It's nice, okay? If you don't consider this nice, you know, I know everybody's different a little bit further north, but I would love a morning around 50 degrees. That would just be amazing. I'd have to go to the store, buy all the fall candles, and it would just really enhance the mood for me. But there's even some upper 40s out there in Ohio, western Pennsylvania, certainly West Virginia. I mean, there's probably even some upper 40s in certain little sections or rural areas of Kentucky for sure. A little cold spot here in southern areas of Michigan. And I mean, you go up to Pennsylvania too, guys. I mean, it's much chillier probably it is in western PA than it is in eastern PA. And then the southern tier, Finger Lakes region, waking up to some pleasant conditions for sure. So we continue to move forward. South central US, no rain to talk about. I'm sorry, but we're still watching that tropical wave. We'll talk about it here in a second. That could bring you guys rain next week. But as far as today, hot, stagnant air. If you're lucky, literally go play the lottery. If you get a downpour in areas of Texas today, consider yourself extremely lucky. It is always possible right under the ridge. We call them pulse storms sometimes. It just happens. They kind of explode out of nowhere and then fall apart as fast as they pop up. So it happens sometimes. But it's pretty much quiet in the south central U.S. today, rain-wise, okay? But yeah, this is this morning. You see this dark red? That is our ridge of high pressure. Basically, the darker it gets, and then eventually we'll even go to a purple. That is a very strong signal of strong ridging in place, okay? So we start off this morning, and we'll go all the way to this evening. 1, 2, 3. This does nothing but expand and then move a little bit further north. And then a system will try to swing down and cool you guys down up north. But, man, this ridge is no joke, guys. And this heat dome right here, okay, is what is causing this intense heat. And, and you look at you folks in the Northeast, just some lucky dogs over here, just continues to get affected by this system in Canada, and just consistent troughing and just ejections of a dry air are keeping you guys in more so in an early fall feel for sure. But temperatures today, high temperatures, it's going to be much hotter today, probably in Kansas, areas in Nebraska than maybe yesterday. Very hot day in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, especially the western and southwestern portion of Arkansas, the southern and southwestern half of Mississippi. Brutal hot temperatures. Stick to your local people. But I mean, if you live in Oklahoma, Kansas, southern Nebraska, Texas, chances are you're hitting 100 degrees a day. And some areas will hit 105 to 110 degrees. This is the actual air temperature. Okay, so sorry to report bad news. I know there's a lot of people asking, Mitch, when is this going to end? But the reason I haven't really answered you guys in a direct way is because I don't know. I really don't. Once you get a ridge of high pressure entrenched into your pattern, it is extremely hard to get it out. It's the same thing. We call it the southeast ridge in the southeast, and it happens a lot in the winter. And basically, you get this southeast ridge in the winter, it basically just crushes any kind of winter weather fans' hopes and dreams, because when you get the southeast ridge in the winter for the southeast, it basically creates every type of storm system to cut. Which means it brings in that rich, warm air in the middle of winter. And to be honest, you guys know I'm a winter weather fan. Nobody wants to see that in the middle of winter. Some people do. Some people like the weeds popping up in their yard in January in the South. But man, it's just a buzzkill for me. But this north central U.S., not much going on either. Up here, the ridge is flexing into this region, stagnant, just flowless, lack of lift air into this region. But we will watch some rain that will try to drift into the western Dakotas as we get into the wee hours of the morning for Sunday morning. And you guys could definitely wake up to an area of rain, especially in North Dakota and South Dakota. Some showers are possible for you folks as we're waking up tomorrow morning. Temperatures for the northern plains is gonna, in the north central U.S., hot, but it looks like you're going to cool down a little bit compared to maybe yesterday, for sure compared to yesterday. Today, temperatures only in the 70s. Okay, this is going to be the day where it was much different than yesterday. Today, and like what the western Dakotas, much cooler than the eastern Dakotas. Eastern Dakotas will get into the 90s, western Dakotas 70s and 80s. We look at Minneapolis. The high forecast is supposed to be around 94, 95, 96 degrees. Very hot in Iowa today. And yeah, very hot temperatures building into this region for mid to late August standards for sure. This is starting to get to that time of the year where you really start to feel the effects of the changing of the seasons, but you're not going to feel it today, that's for sure. The western U.S., we'll take a broad look first, and then we're going to zoom into the Southwest. So for my folks tuning in from the Southwest, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to talk about you, but we're going to take a look at the entire western U.S. first. I think you can get a lot of rich moisture all the way into southern and southwest Montana, Idaho. Showers and storms are possible up into Oregon. Definitely some shower and storm activity in Wyoming, really anywhere in the state today, really. But this is the rich funnel of moisture as we're getting into this evening. It's already beginning to fly into central California, areas in Nevada, and the rain's already beginning to fall later this evening in like Las Vegas, southern California. I think there's going to be a tight gradient in extreme western areas of Arizona, but we'll see. This could eventually drift into southwestern Utah, but this is getting into about 2 o'clock in the morning Western time. And yeah, rain is certainly starting to take over most of the state of Utah at this, of Nevada at this point. It's raining like cats and dogs in Southern California, southwestern areas of Arizona, and then we're waking up tomorrow morning with conditions rapidly deteriorating for Southern California. Okay, and even areas of Nevada. I keep wanting to call Nevada Utah for some reason. I've never struggled with that until now. So let's zoom in to this. Okay, this is the HRRR model, and here comes all the moisture. I mean, already at about 2 to 3 o'clock this afternoon, I mean, you even got little storms popping up, and some of these could breach strong to severe limits. Okay, you see these areas highlighted in that yellow and red and orange. Those are some stronger cells, but this the full-fledged heavy rain begins to take over Southern California later this afternoon. It really just becomes entrenched into the area, and yeah, it just starts raining and raining and raining in Southern California. But you got pockets of heavier rain extending all the way up, like I said, up into Nevada, Central California, these higher elevations of California, even some rain into the valleys of California. But you start to get into overnight tonight. This is around 1 a.m., just after midnight. I mean, you even got a strong area of storms kind of moving into southern Arizona, but this really heavy rain is coming, guys. And you can see the spin. You see it right here. This is the center of Hillary moving in, and this is when the winds will probably really increase as we get into tomorrow. I don't want to get too much into tomorrow right now. We'll probably do that in tonight's video. But rainfall between now and tomorrow morning, okay, you have a moderate risk. Now, this could increase to a high risk in later updates, but as of now, just for today, there is a moderate risk, at least a 40% chance of flash flood guidance being exceeded. This includes everybody in the red right here, like Joshua Tree National Park, Cathedral City, Palm Desert. I don't pretend to know every geographical feature right here in Southern California. I'm somewhat familiar with it, but I've never been there. But I know there's some deserts, a lot of deserts, and there's a lot of microclimates, a lot of higher elevations. But it's coming. If you're wondering in San Diego, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, what about the rain today? Well, I think you'll get some showers, but I don't think you guys will get the worst impacts until we're getting into tomorrow morning. But rainfall between now and the next 24 hours, I think Southern California could get the most, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rain. Guys, I know you're thinking, Mitch, that's not a lot of rain. That is a lot of rain for the desert areas of California. 1 to 3 inches of rain is a ton of rain in this region, just over the next 24 hours. Okay. Let's just take a broader look at this. Let's look at the Southwest. And, a lot of rain could fall into Las Vegas, southern sections and central sections of Nevada. A quarter inch to an inch of rain. And once again, I know that doesn't sound like a lot of rain, but it is. It is. And this is nothing compared to what's to come. So, temperatures today, very nice in the Ohio Valley, the Northeast. Kind of fall type conditions. Just notice my cat is still in here. Typical summer kind of conditions, mid-August conditions in the deep south, the southeast. You're flirting with records, if not breaking records in the south central U.S. A little bit cooler today in the high plains, but it's definitely warming up in the south central U.S. for sure. The north central U.S. We move into the western U.S., just cool, just because you got massive cloud bank moving in, you're dealing with showers. So typically we're seeing pretty much below average temperatures out here, except maybe in areas of Idaho and Washington State, where the valleys could get well into the 90s. But nothing unusual out here. Stick to your local people. One thing I will mention is Montana is much cooler today compared to yesterday, especially central and eastern areas of Montana. So let's give you an update on the tropics. So I'm going to try to do this with my cat in my lap, and she likes to bite my finger if I don't pet her consistently while she's on my lap. But this is the update per 2 a.m. In fact, let's try to update this and see if they dropped another update for the 8 a.m. update, and they have not. But I can tell you it's probably going to update within minutes, so I might jump back to this and actually see what this looks like. But as of right now, the 2 a.m. update, this tropical wave, there's a tropical wave, and I'll show you this here in a second. There's a tropical wave right here just south of the Bahamas, just north of Cuba. And this is eventually going to get into the Gulf of Mexico, where we'll have a 50% chance to develop within the next 7 days. You got this tropical wave, which I could see this bumping up to a 40% risk in the next update or two. Just outside, east of the Lesser Antilles, the Leeward Islands. This is definitely going to bring some impacts to the Lesser Antilles, to Puerto Rico, to the Dominican Republic. It's going to probably bring a lot of shower and gusty activity. Do I expect a full-fledged strong tropical storm hurricane? I don't as of now, but you can't rule out something sneaky happening with this. Okay, this is 90L, this is 99, Invest 99L. Okay, the chances of this has dropped. I don't see much coming of this, but you never know, it could. And then you still got 98L out here. Regardless with these two systems, I don't think they're going to bother anybody. I think they're doomed. I think maybe they get dubbed a tropical depression, especially this one, but I think they're doomed. Meaning I think they're going to get affected by a lot of shear and dry air, and I'll talk about that in this video. But we got to watch this one and this one for sure in the Atlantic. So let's try to update this one time. I'm trying to catch this on the fly, but it doesn't look like we are. So we take a look at these systems actually on satellite. This is that wave I talked about north of Cuba. Okay, this is the tropical wave beginning to affect areas of the like the Leeward Islands and basically the Lesser Antilles right here. This is basically the gateway of the Caribbean. And then you got 99L right here and 98L right here. And I would not be surprised if this wave coming off North Africa gets dubbed an area of interest sometime today, because this is another vigorous piece of energy coming off North Africa. But they all are now finally separated enough where we can actually see each individual piece of energy right here, right here, right here, right here, and right here. So it's like 5 different areas, but only 4 of them are dubbed an area of interest or an invest. So this is what's going on out there right now. And we take a closer look at 98L, 99L, and 90L. Now, I might get them mixed up here, but this is 99L, this is 98L, and this is 90L. These are all invest right now. They're not tropical depressions or tropical storms for sure. So this is a closer look at them. There's a lot of dry air up here. There's a tut up here. So these two right here are probably going to try to drift a little bit further this way. Going to feel the upper wind patterns, and they will encounter a tut, and which is going to create a lot of shear from this direction. So I think these two are doomed. I just don't think they're going to develop, but we still need to watch them. We really do. But it's this one right here that I really want to watch, as it will kind of get into the Eastern Caribbean, which is this region right in here, and just kind of chill for a while. And normally this time of the year, especially in El Nino years, you got a lot of shear in the Eastern Caribbean. We call it the graveyard of the Caribbean because it's where tropical systems go to die. So we got to watch this. We really do. So let's get this off the screen, and let's continue to move, and let's talk about really the pattern. Remember, I just mentioned to you the tut. That's what basically an upper level low. So you see this right here? That is what this is. So you see the blue shades right in here. This is creating a westerly flow, which is our shear. So this is our tut. That is really ugly. I'm going to actually try to draw that again for you guys. So this is that tut right in here. These are our systems are right into here. So these systems, especially 98L and 99L, are going to basically try to plow right into this tut. And that is a no-no, especially for a weaker system. And they are weaker systems. Okay, so this is going to get blasted by shear as basically it plows into this upper level low feature, a tut feature. A lot of times these tut features extends all the way into the Eastern Caribbean this time of the year. But in this case, it's not. So that's why we're going to watch this tropical wave, which is right into here, as it tries to slip under some weak ridging. And it's not really being affected by this tut. It's slipping south of it, so it will try to meander around and try to develop. Okay, and then we're watching this system right here. Okay, and over the next couple days, it's going to continue to emerge into the Gulf of Mexico and have about a 1 to 2, maybe 2.5 day period to develop. Now, it is going to have somewhat favorable conditions. We know the sea surface temperatures are supportive in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, but one thing that it's going to be affected by is at the bottom of this ridge that's built over this portion of the U.S. will continue to be. Okay, it's going to be affected by some flow at the base of this ridge. So if you heard a meow, that's my cat in my lap. So it's still going to be affected by some flow aloft that's basically going to work against any kind of possible development in this region. So let's get this off the screen, continue to chug forward here. I hope everything I'm explaining to you guys makes sense. One of my goals here is to explain information what the audience can understand, and I think it's important for the audience to really understand what's driving all this. Another thing we look at is dry air. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know what dry air is on this right. So the brown is dry air, the green is more moist air, and you can actually see the moisture bubble from some of these systems, but in some cases you can't. Now you got this wave right into here, which is getting a kind of a funnel of kind of an enhancement of low-level flow off North South America. I like to call this Africa down here for some reason. Northern sections of South America. It's getting a kind of an enhancement of low-level moisture into this tropical wave. So this is actually helping to aid in a moisture field into 90L, even though it's got a little bit of dry air on top. Now, look at 99L. 99L is just plowing, or hey, this might even be 98L. They're so confusing out here, and we'll back it up and look at this. So this is 98L. Yeah, 98L is right into here. 99L is right into here, which basically has significantly dropped in the chances of development. And both of these just plow right into this, basically this funnel of dry air, which is Saharan dust, by the way. So you see all this brown color right in here. This is dust coming off the deserts of North Africa, the Saharan desert. And these are both wanting to plow right into this. That mixing the fact that it's plowing into a tut, the tut creates shear. Shear allows for dry air to come into these systems. These systems are really just doomed. So we continue to move forward. here. And we'll take a look at this wave right here, just north of Cuba, starting to enter the Florida Straits, if you will, just south of Florida, Key West region. So this big blob of, it's not really big. It's not even big. It's not bigger than this area down here, but basically this is how we find it on here. So this area of green is our tropical wave, and as it continues to move into the Gulf of Mexico the later part of this weekend and then early next week, we have a big area of green you see on your map. That is our tropical wave, creating a lot of shower storm activity over the Gulf of Mexico. This will continue to chug westward and then eventually have a chance to develop. I think if it's going to develop into a depression, it'll be in the western kind of the western areas of the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, right here into this region. But it will have a chance, and this is getting into Tuesday morning, to bring a field of moisture into South Texas. But unfortunately for you folks in northern Texas, Louisiana, as of now, this looks like it's going to take more of a southerly route and not really bring any rain for Louisiana. This could change, and we'll continue to watch this, but as of now, it wants to bring most of the moisture into South Texas. So let's go back and look at the National Hurricane Center update from the Atlantic. See if we got an update. We sure don't. It looks like they're really lagging. I know you're thinking, Mitch, well, how is it lagging if it's an 8 a.m. update? It's only 7:51. Well, a lot of times they'll drop an 8 a.m. update at like 7:40. So we're still lagging. They might be going over something. But just a quick reminder, as I just went over the Atlantic, I could see this bumping up to a 40% chance. This will probably change somewhat. Okay, so just know that this is a changing situation. As of right now, let's make sure there's no updates from this. The 3 a.m. Update from the National Hurricane Center for Hurricane Hilary. It's still technically a 130 mile per hour storm, but I want to let you guys know right off the dot. If you're tuning in and it's Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, this is probably substantially weakened, but still forecast to still be a major hurricane by sometime later today, but it will drop to just a normal hurricane category 2 or lower. And then by 12 p.m. Sunday, about 30-ish hours from now, about noontime Sunday, it'll just be a tropical storm making landfall most likely in the northern Baja Peninsula. And this tropical storm will still be a tropical storm by 12 a.m. Monday, plowing right. I mean, it still might technically be a tropical storm, making it all the way inland to Nevada, okay? But it'll be a depression by the time we get into noon Monday. So hurricane warnings up in the red. If you look very hard right here in the pink, that is hurricane watches, but in the blue, that is tropical storm warnings that extend all the way up to the southern areas of the coastline of California. So this is a big deal. But I will tell you one thing about this storm. And do I not have the satellite up for the storm? I guess I do not. But one thing I do want to show about this storm is, oh, I do. Okay. I'm sorry for being everywhere, guys. It's right here. So this is what Hilary looks like right now based off satellite. What you'll notice right off the dot, and we knew this was going to happen, is basically the western portion of this storm is kind of being decapitated. It's kind of getting ripped away. So the worst weather is by far on the eastern side, which unfortunately the eastern side of this storm is where all the land is going to be. So right now, if there was land right here on the eastern side of the storm, they would be getting full-fledged major hurricane type conditions. But this will continue to weaken. And the reason why it's weakening, guys, a lot of people are wondering, how is this going to weaken so fast? Once you get up here, I mean, it's already encountered cooler waters. But once you get up into here, the sea surface temperatures are only in the 60s off the coast of California. Okay, that is not supportive for maintaining tropical system strengthening or even maintaining strength of tropical systems. So this is going to continue, but you already have a feed of moisture being funneled up. Okay, it's already happening. Upper level low right in here, ridge right in here, and this is basically getting funneled into this region right into here. All this moisture between both flows out here. So we'll get this off the screen. We take a look at some model guides really quick, but there's not really much point of staying on this long because this is pretty much not set in stone. Of course, it'll wiggle like 20, 30 miles some, But this is really some high confidence, and this indicates how high in confidence this is with how skinny the cone of uncertainty is. The wider it would be, the more broad it would be, the less confidence they would have on where this is going to make landfall. But this is pretty skinny, indicating there's some pretty high confidence that this is going to make landfall, most likely as it grinds up the coastline, the western coastline of Baja California. The Baja Peninsula. This is going to make landfall probably in the northern portion of that area, and then still be tropical storm status, maintain that status as it enters Southern California. And this will continue to bring a slug of moisture as far north. I mean, the moisture from this can make it all the way up into Canada. It really could. So another way to look at this, and I'll try to explain this, and I kind of explained it earlier though, but we'll explain it again. You see this blue right here. This is an upper level low. You see the orange right here. That is our ridge built over and anchored over the U.S. So this upper level low that you see right into here, okay, acts as a trough. And then there's this ridge that's built over this region right in here. And then if you look down here, there is the approaching Hillary. Hillary is going to get yanked by this flow around this upper level low. So it's going to feel that current, and it's going to take this route right into here. There's also a flow around this high pressure like this. So it's basically two flows that are working together to pull all of Hillary's moisture and basically the heart and soul of Hillary, which is the center, this way between both of these non-competing patterns. They're working in sequence. They're working together in this case. A lot of times, sometimes they work against one another, but in this case, they're working together to make Hillary take that unusual historic path. Okay, so that's what's going on, and we'll get this in motion to kind of show you guys what this looks like. And we'll actually go a little bit further in the future. Sunday morning, here it is, upper level low ridge, and this squeezes right between it. It actually looks like it merges with the upper level low, but it doesn't. It's the same system, but it gets slingshotted into Southern California, the Southwestern US. And you can see it with the moisture. This upper level low will always is typically associated with dry air, and even the ridging right over here. Typically, the further you get entrenched into under an area of high pressure, the drier the air is. But in between this, sandwiched in between this, you've got this moist, rich feed of moisture. So right here on your screen, this dark green is basically just a ton of moisture getting slung into an area of the country that is notoriously dry all times of the year, which is a desert. Okay, Death Valley, all these deserts out here. And then there's higher elevations. Okay, there's you got mountain ranges, mountains that are 6,000 to 10,000 feet tall in these areas of the country too. Okay, even higher in some cases. So you get all this lift and this moisture that gets pushed up against these mountain ridges and these mountain tops, and it basically helps to squeeze out as much moisture as possible. Okay, that's getting into extreme, the nerdy part of weather. I mean, getting really deep with it, but it basically acts as lift and then enhances rainfall in these regions. So this continues. And then here comes the actual center of Hillary that basically flows into Southern California and Nevada. And this becomes a serious deal. And then dry air turns around and wraps right back behind it. So rainfall over the next 3 days. You got a high risk. That means there's a 70% risk of excessive rainfall being exceeded in this region. Flash flooding, historic flash flooding, life-threatening flash flooding in Southern California, guys. There's no hype behind this. This is real. Okay, you look at that, and then you look at the National Hurricane Center forecast for rainfall. They have now introduced some areas in red. That's 10 to 15 inches of rain, and yeah, in desert areas, and then outside the desert regions where you got higher elevations. Okay, a lot of rain too. Okay, even 2 to 4 inches of rain in the desert in a 2-day period, it can be catastrophic. But these areas will get, some of these areas will get more rain in a 2-day period than they see typically in a year easily. I read somewhere where some areas could get more rain than they typically see in 2 years in a 2-day period. So catastrophic conditions. The latest update, I wish I could get more updated information, but this is from about 11 hours ago from San Diego. This is how much rainfall they're going for, but this could increase. But if you're tuning in from this area, I'm not going to try to pronounce every single city, but take a look at this. This is what the National Weather Service is showing for your area in southwestern and southern areas of California. But I also want to show you guys the predicted wind speeds. These higher totals right in here, these are higher elevations. So, I mean, you got some areas that, could gust to 80 to 90 miles per hour, guys. And you see these weird little individual regions right in here that are higher than others. That is higher elevation. So winds, the higher up you get, the faster the winds are. And that's why it's indicated over higher elevations that you guys are going to get more, just stronger winds. Okay. But I mean, even areas of like San Diego, they're saying the peak wind gust could be 43 miles per hour. Same thing in Las Vegas, 30 to 40 miles per hour. Just very, very strong winds. Okay, especially whoever gets the brunt of the area just east of the low pressure from the system. So, hope that helps you guys. I hope this gets out to people, makes people aware. This is not hype. This is serious, guys, and this could be historic and life-threatening. God bless all y'all. I have you another update this evening. Have yourselves a great day.